We had a gentleman's agreement. There's something about everybody that you deal with ain't a gentleman. And the thing was, the business took off. And all of a sudden, one day, the other shoe dropped. And I was informed that I wasn't a real part of the business, because once the business actually took off, then their younger brother came involved, their father came involved, and all of a sudden, it's now a family business. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve New from the Ville. Welcome back. Now, I'm talking about a wound that cuts deeper than any physical blow. The sting of betrayal from someone you trust completely. We've all felt it on some scale. The moment when the person that you thought had your back reveals a hidden agenda. It forces you to ask, what will make you go to war? Is it for land, money, over a woman or significant other? Is it for power? Or is it because someone who you were loyal to betrayed you in the most fundamental way? I'm going to do a media therapy deep dive into the powerful series premiere of The Chief of War, Season 1, Episode 1. This episode isn't just a historical epic. It's a profound exploration of how a world built on loyalty can be shattered by a single act of betrayal. Now, I'm going to explore how the show sets up the seemingly unbreakable bond only to watch it crumble, and what that shows you about the fragility of trust, the devastating cost of a broken promise, and the difficult personal war you must wage when your allies become your enemies. Get ready to rethink the nature of loyalty and discover what drives a person to go to war, not just on the battlefield, but in their own heart. Let me tell you a little story. I had a partner of mine, and he was a musician. And I was heavily into music. I had DJ'd, I'd done party promotion. So we got to talking as we were in college studying business. And we came up with the idea, hey, why don't we put our skills together and do something? Now, I will admit, this was stupid on my part. We had a gentleman's agreement. There's something about everybody that you deal with ain't a gentleman. So we had a handshake. We had something very loosely written on paper, but the agreement wasn't worth the paper it was written on. So he brought in his brother. His brother handled a different aspect of the business, shady shit. But they were cool. And the thing was, the business took off. Record business, we cutting, selling records, making videos, doing parties, in clubs, and all of a sudden, one day, the other shoe dropped. And I was informed that I wasn't a real part of the business, because once the business actually took off, then their younger brother came involved, their father came involved, and all of a sudden, it's now a family business. And when the paper that we had our agreement came up, needless to say, Jesus didn't let me go to jail that night. If you don't protect yourself from even people you don't think you need to protect yourself from, who will? Let's get into it. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve New from the Ville, and I'm here to talk to you about The Chief of War, Season 1, Episode 1, also called The Chief of War. Now, if you've been rocking with me for a minute, you know I don't want to do a long recap. I'm going to kind of recap as I go. First of all, if you have not shared this already, you need to. You didn't end up here by accident. This is where you were supposed to be. So, share this. Jason Momoa wants you to do it. We are all Ohana, right? Next, you need to hit the like button. It's real simple. It looks like a thumbs up. Hit it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about this first episode. Even if you saw C on Apple TV, how do you compare this? Did you even know anything about Hawaii at all before this? And of course, if you're not subscribed, hit the button, subscribe right now. Now, you know that I love my quotes, and today I got two. The first one, I don't know who wrote it, but it goes, some people aren't loyal to you. They're only loyal to their need of you. And once their needs change, so does their loyalty. And the second one, I don't know who wrote that one either, but it goes, those who don't know the value of loyalty can never appreciate the cost of betrayal. I'm calling this Media Therapy Deep Dive, What Will Make You Go to War? You know, there's something to be said about a calculated deception. People that play in your face. They play on your loyalties. A lot of people think that it's naivety. It's not you being naive. It's being more trusting than you should. It's being more loyal than you should. Even when they know that sometimes you're a shit starter, but they have numbers on their side. They have people that they can get to on your side that they can hurt. They have ways to twist the screws to keep from reprisal. I used to think that it was people wouldn't screw you over if they had respect for you, but that's not true. And then I used to think that people wouldn't screw you over if they were afraid of you. Yeah, that's not true either. So how do you keep people from screwing you over? Sometimes you don't. But what you can do is find ways to keep yourself from getting screwed over. And you really have to ask yourself, what will you go to war for? What will make you go to war? You know, betrayal is not always a shocking, sudden act of malice. Sometimes a masterfully calculated deception is where a leader can manipulate a person's loyalty to justify their own ruthless ambition. I got caught out there a couple times, and sometimes they were friendships, sometimes relationships. It's not called betrayal because it's people that you don't care about. It's betrayal because it's the people closest to you that lie to you, that take your trust and take your kindness as a fault of yours, as a weakness. You know, in this particular episode, Jason Momoa is playing a chief. He's a chief of war named Ka'aiana. I think I said it right, Ka'aiana. And he's the chief of war for the kingdom of Maui. Now, at this particular time, and we're talking about late 1800s, Hawaii, even though it's a system of different islands, each one of the islands has its own kingdom. And you have 4 large kingdoms. The 4 kingdoms of Hawaii are Hawaii, Oahu, Maui, and Kauai. And each one is ruled by their own supreme chief. And I see the word here on my computer, but I'm not going to say it. Yes, I am. Ali'i Nui. That means supreme chief, and I probably messed that all up. You know, the strange thing is, Hawaii and Alaska are the only 2 states in the United States that I've never been to. I've been to all 48 of the continental states, but I've never been to those 2. But I've been completely fascinated by Hawaii and how an indigenous people so much later in the game were taken advantage of and pretty much done almost the same as the Native Americans in the middle of the United States. Greed wins. But the thing is, greed was able to get a foothold because of all the infighting amongst the four kingdoms themselves. The king of Maui was Kahekili, and he used Kaiana's, say that 5 times fast, used his own grief against him. Some things had went down earlier and he abandoned his post. He left. Mostly because of a rift. He felt like Kahekili was out of pocket and he was just attacking people for his own greed, for his own hubris. And in that, his father ended up being killed, who was the original chief of war. Now, Kaiana had it in him. He had brothers, but he was him. And he fought with the same ferociousness, and he was pretty much just like his dad. But the one thing he wasn't going to do was he was a man of integrity. He had honor. And he's like, I can't rock with the king no more. He has no honor. He just does whatever. So he left, and he took him and his family, and they left. And they went to another island. I think they went to Oahu. Maybe they went to Kauai, I think. But the thing is, he was in exile, and the people there, they kind of left him alone. They knew who he was, but they was like, whatever reason is you here, all right. They left him alone. But he was finally tracked down by his own people, and they said, the king has summoned you. Now, Kaiana felt like this was a trap. He's like, I don't know. But he went anyway. He gathered his people. He said, all right, we're going to go check it out. Apparently there was a prophecy, an asteroid, something, a meteor in the sky, and that was going to signal the rise of the true king. There's always a prophecy in it. Kahekili says they've been waiting all this time for the true king to rise up, and nobody ever rise up. And he said, you know what? I realized I'm him, and I'm going to force everyone else into submission. I'm going to unify all the kingdoms of Hawaii, and I'm taking over. Now, the way he talked, Kaiana was not with it. He's like, yeah, dude, I don't believe you changed. And then he said, hold on. Remember them dudes? The other tribe, they killed your daddy? Well, when we went to war with them, I got your daddy's bones back. They desecrated his bones. They made him look stupid and had him on display. I got him back. Because you deserve that. He deserves a burial. He deserves to be laid to rest, right? His grief over his father pushed him, and he's like, word? All right, so who had him? Is that who you about to? Yeah, all right, let's go get him. But hold on. Here's the plan. We gonna do it like this, right? And you gonna be over here, and I'm gonna go over here. And then when I give you the signal, then you come and we can do this whole thing. Nobody even has to die. We just come in, house the whole situation. Everybody's good. Kahekili was like, yeah, great plan. Let's go with that. Kaiana took his people in. They invaded. There was a little bloodshed. I mean, some people ran up on him. And he's like, okay, I see y'all want the smoke. He gave them everything they didn't want. But then all of a sudden they heard the battle horn. Is that Kahekili? What? And he's like, what's he doing here? I didn't give the signal. So they ran to the other side of the island where Kahekili was going. Problem is, Kahekili was lying the whole time. He used and manipulated Kaiana's bond and his loyalty to him, to his kingdom. It wasn't even really the bond to him, it was the bond to his kingdom. He had taken over his father's position. And the thing is, Kahekili was so treacherous. He didn't secretly betray Kayana and his peoples. When he showed up, there was a village. It was supposed to be the high priest that was turning everyone against him. Nah, it was just a village of farmers, old ladies, kids. Kahekili showed up with his people and said, "Kill everybody." And his soldiers went right in and killed everybody. And they had a young king. He looked barely in his teenagers. And the king's like, "Why are you doing this? I looked up to you. I want to be like you." And Kahekili said, "Be like me? Boy, you're not worthy to even, spit on my feet." And cut his throat and did all this in front of Kayana, who now has the full realization that he was used, that he was manipulated, that he was betrayed. Kayana didn't even want to get into this because he not only was he through killing people for Kahekili, but he said he wasn't in that business no more. He didn't want to kill anybody. He just wanted to live peacefully. But now he's in it. And now his peoples are with him. And now they're unsafe. Because Kahekili's like, he knows what he's done. He's betrayed him. But he's like, I don't need him. The prophecy says I need the manna in his bones. So I just need his bones. We kill him too. He knew he wasn't safe. So he had to bounce with his peoples. But they had to plot a way to escape. You know, the tragedy in this is that it wasn't just a betrayal and the lives lost. It was the shattering of Kayana's worldview. He lost all trust in not only his king, who he had very little to begin with, but the king's purpose and the kingdom itself. As long as that man was in charge, I can't have no parts of this. But now, him and his own family, his entire family, what he's got left of family, are in trouble and he's on the run. He realized that he could no longer be loyal to this monster and he had to abandon his kingdom, this time for good. You know, you may find a time in your life when you feel like you've been exploited, you've been used, abused, manipulated, lied to, betrayed. What keeps you from going to war? I know the question I asked at first was, what will make you go to war? But what will keep you from going to war? The last time I was betrayed, I turned to God. And God told me, leave that alone. I'll take care of it. You know, a lot of times that's hard to hear. And I know it says in the good book that vengeance is mine. Just let me get a little piece of it though. Let me, just a little stabby something. Let me get a little piece. But no, God told me let that go. I have better for you. And the thing is, it's hard to have faith when you know something is better for you, that better is coming. Because it ain't showed up yet. Still broke. Like I was thinking about this episode in this series, I'm so intrigued about the history of Hawaii. Because one of the few places in the world I really want to go. Hawaii, Bali, Dubai. I want to go to Alaska too, but those three are tops for me. Not in that order, but Japan. There's a few places in the world that I want to go, like, now. It's hard, but every day you are blessed enough to wake up and put one foot in front of the other. You have a chance to get past these things that try to break you and have an opportunity to do the internal work that's going to remake you. This is Rakai Steed, new from the Ville. Make sure that you share this, hit the like button, and leave me some comments. I know that I'm not alone about having issues with loyalty and betrayal. What'd you think of the episode? What'd you think of what I said? And if for some reason you haven't subscribed, it's cool. Hit the button down the corner and you can subscribe right now. Watch some of the other videos and see what resonates with you. At the end of the day, it's all about this. But it's even more important. It's all about this.